So let's do a little church news, shall we? Let's do a little church news. I got two. They kind of run side by side. Carlton Thunderbird and Lamore Whitehead. Bishop Lamore Whitehead. We'll start with Mr. Whitehead first. Who, now mind you, he claims to make $0 as a bishop. He is the one, for those who haven't seen it, I believe there's a video of him being robbed while he is there in the pulpit preaching and carrying on. So there is a video of him being robbed. And a lot of people in the comments were commenting about a guy who was like sitting off to the side. Didn't move. He's sitting there looking, playing tic-tac-toe or something. Like he's totally unfazed. And Bishop Whitehead has been convicted of fraud before. I think real estate or something like that. So he's not the most up and up person, but people change, right? So what I want to know here is he guilty of past behavior? Because they stole hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of jewelry that he had. So let's see. Is he guilty of fraud? Is this an inside man type of thing? Because you can hide jewelry. So let's see. Is he guilty of fraud in this robbery? The Lovers and the Six of Pentacles. There's your possessions, giving out your possessions, your charity, and then the Lovers card. The Nine of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Judgment, and the Eight of Cups. Seven of Swords and the Word of Warning. We are done already right there. The Hermit, the Four of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups. Nostalgia, past behavior. Look here. You start with the Lovers and the Six of Pentacles. You gave your possessions to someone you know. Someone on the same page as you. You gave your possessions. The Knight of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. Someone was paid. This is your mercenary, the person you hire to do a job for greed. Lapse in judgment. Eight of Cups, judgment. The Hermit, isolation. It only happened to you, not everybody in the church type of thing. Seven of Swords, sneaky. There was a plan. You left evidence behind though, so don't do like Trump and try to eat it and put it in a box, burn it or get rid of it or whatever. You know what? That's an accessory. I'm trying to tell you how to break the law. Don't. But there's a scheme here, but there was evidence left behind. You ain't lost no jewelry. You ain't lost no sleep over this neither. So the other child, what's his name? They always say if you want to get rich, open the church. Carlton Thunderbird. Actually, I meant to research something before this story. I do all these readings back to back and I forget. Pardon me. Pause for the cause. Movado. Watch. Pricing. Just tell me how much it is. I don't need to go into all these different websites. $1,000. You know how uncultured I am. So. Oh, you can get a Movado watch from Sam's Club for $335. But they're not cheap watches, I guess, is the thing. So Mr. Thunderbird, I just want to say Thunderbird so bad, but Thunderbird, he is the pastor of a church, and he asked his parishioners, his congregation, for a Movado watch. And some of them are in the range of thousands of dollars. They could not do such a thing. You ain't crippled dollar. They ain't buying no $65 million jet. So he then gets on his microphone and says that the people in his church are broke, busted, and disgusted because they wouldn't buy him a Movado watch. And then he apologized the week after that hit the news, because somebody in the church was awful offended, I'm sure, that y'all are broke, busted, and disgusted because you won't buy me a $1,000 watch. Meanwhile, you can get you a $1,000 phone, and it got the time on it. I mean, you can make calls and surf the web. It's a mini computer in your hand. I'll get you a picture of a Movado watch. Meanwhile, ain't you broke, busted, and disgusted that you can't buy your own? So anyway, how is he viewed now in that church? Is this going to be rocky for him to get his reputation back? Or once you can't unring that bell. Not with me, you can't. Now, mind you, you ain't my pal still, so I don't really care. But like for instance, okay. My mother's pastor, when we went to a church in Oklahoma, it's called Redeemed Missionary Baptist Church. And the pastor at the time, his name was Reverend L.R. Drinkwater. And he had a reputation too. Now, mind you, if my mother called him for anything, he was there. Anything. He would, 3 o'clock in the morning when she was in the hospital, he'd come up there. She need money. She got it from him, so forth and so forth. So, he helped the community, but he wanted money. He said one time that God told him that every family in the church was supposed to give $1,000. He said, now you can ask God all you want to, but he's going to tell you the same thing. You sure God said that? Every family in the church is to give $1,000. Maybe he was saying you should give every family $1,000. But he was one of those with the nice suit and the Cadillac. He literally had a Cadillac. But again, if you asked him for anything, he gave it to you. Like I said, up to and including to. We called him several times to come up to hospitals and things. And it doesn't matter what time of the day it was. He was in his suit and he came up to that hospital and prayed over you in that hospital bed. He did his job. It was all about that money, though. So how is homeboy Thunderbird? How is he viewed now in his church after his broke, busted, and disgusted line? Mercy. So here's the church. The Hierophant, the religious leader, Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is... This is wisdom in academics. Somebody is... I guess he is... There's something about academics there. I don't know why exactly. But there's something there about academics. The Page of Pentacles is... Because there's no agreement here. There's something... There's paper, but it's academic in nature. Anyway, moving on. There's that. And the King of Cups and the Four of Wands. They're in the church. Is standing. They considered him nice in the past, because the King of Cups is a nice person, motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, I should say. The Three of Swords, though, and the Three of Cups. There's your congregation. and then the devil. They feel betrayed, not just betrayed, but betrayed by your greed, your lust for things. Your word of warning is the Ace of Cups. This has turned off new people. This has turned off people. This has turned off. This is damaging to people's spirituality as well. They're in the church. They don't feel as though you are a spiritual person, especially when it came to. It's not like you said, I need cancer treatments, pay for it. And then when people couldn't pay for it, then you called them broke. You wanted a watch. There's not a single solitary person on this earth that needs a watch. Even if your job is based upon things you have to time, you can get something different. You can get a stopwatch, you can get a telephone, you don't need a $1,000 watch. Even if you need a watch, get you a $5 one at the dollar store. It tells the same time. I once bought a watch. It was very fancy. But in order to get it to go, you had to do this. You had to, because it was a winding type thing, but there was no thing this way. You had to move it. And then it stayed, as long as you stayed in motion, it stayed on. But what if you sit and still? So I just bought this for what? It's a paperweight. And then it ends, well, we'll go to a word of solace, because their Six of Swords is pretty good for this situation. It means that there will be some recovery. It's just going to take some time, maybe some mentorship. Maybe that's where this comes in at. There's some mentorship here, because the Hierophant is wisdom. And there is, in the traditional depiction, is it up here? It's on the other side. There is 2 black and white strips running from the Hierophant. That is the duality of mankind. It's a Mason symbol, a Freemason symbol. And so you have somebody here that can help you sort of balance out what it is you're doing, what it is you're saying. So he may do one of those type of things like Juanita Bynum did when she had her whole kerfuffle with the church, and she went to T.D. Jakes and put on that whole show. And anyway. And then there is the Towers, how it ends. You have ruined some relationships. Ruined some relationships. This is a priest. That's the king. You have ruined some relationships. But you will be able to sort of move forward a little bit. But not good. Not good at all. Next time, ask him to buy you a drink.